So I'm on Reddit the other day, which is basically where graphic designers go, to tell each other how much they hate graphic design and complain about things. And I come across this one post. Is graphic design still worth pursuing? And the comments, they're what you'd expect they would be. Graphic design is dead. I just quit. AI is replacing us. I just applied to 400 jobs with no response. Sure you did. And honestly, yeah, if I was 18 years old right now and trying to decide whether I wanted to become a designer or maybe looking to switch careers into design from the outside, it looks scary. I get it. AI looks like it's doing all the work for you. And if you want to be hands-on, you've got Canva and salaries seem to be down and everybody's posting about they want a unicorn. Like the market feels upside down right now, and it really does feel like graphic design is dying. But my take, I don't think we're watching graphic design die at all. I think we're finally being forced to ask what the hell graphic design actually is. And those are actually two very different conversations. And I know what people are going to say. They're going to be like, oh, it's different this time. Yeah, but we've heard this story before. Over and over and over again. Every decade has its end of graphic design moment. Like when desktop publishing arrived, graphic design is dead. And when digital printing exploded, graphic design is dead. And stock photography, online printing, crowdsourcing, Fiverr, Canva, AI, like every single time people said, this is it, graphic design is dead. Nobody's ever going to hire a designer. They'll just do it themselves. And yet, here we still are, and some of us busier than ever. Graphic design didn't die, people, but it did change, kind of. And I think that's where this starts getting interesting, because people love debating the future of design, but nobody asks, where did all of this actually start? Because if we're going to figure out whether graphic design is still worth pursuing, we probably need to figure out how we got here in the first place. So I'm going to take you back to the coolest time in graphic design. I'm talking 90s graphic design, pre-Y2K BS, okay? I was in college, also started my agency late, and it was such a cool time to be a graphic designer. I mean, you had David Carson and Sagmeister and Michael Beirut and Paul Asher and James Victoria. They were all tearing it up, and we were witnessing it live. They broke every rule and challenged everything, and they became famous because they changed the way people thought about design, and they proved that graphic design could have a voice, a personality, attitude, edge, and trends. They were grunge and anti-design and rave and acid house and Y2K. Graphic design wasn't just cool as fuck. It made you want to be a graphic designer. But here's the thing. It wasn't because of the software, because the software actually kind of sucked and made our lives miserable. It was complicated and it crashed and nobody knew how the hell to use it because, in all fairness, it never really existed before. But everything was new and had to be learned from scratch, and icons, they made no sense at all. And you weren't learning how to use this on YouTube because, well, it didn't exist. So you just kind of figured it out. And then you had production. It was so expensive, like really expensive. You weren't printing 50 brochures for a pop-up sale that was happening this weekend. You were printing thousands of brochures at a time because most of the cost was in setting up the first one. You had film and plates and color proofs. And I remember early days having to go to a printing press, sign off on a press run, and there'd be these giant printing presses like the size of houses, and the noise and the smells. And then you'd have this big press guy who was always named either Mike or Rob, and they would like reach into the press as it was going and pull out a sheet, and you'd think he'd lose like a hand or a finger, but no, never ever. They never did. They always had their hands and fingers. And then they would slap that thing on a whiteboard and giving it over to you, and you were kind of looking through it through this little binocular, pretending like you knew what the hell you were doing, but really you weren't. And they knew you didn't know what you were doing, but they wanted to have no responsibility on what the decisions were made. So you'd say things like, ooh, the magenta is running a little hot, we need to cool it off, or the cyan is maybe too blue, and it was really dumb. But there you were, 22 years old, and pretending like you knew what you were doing and what you were looking for. Those guys, they knew you had no idea what you were talking about, but at the same time, they knew what was at stake, and they didn't want to make the call. That was on you. So it was both exciting, but stressful, because mistakes, they weren't measured in clicks. They were measured in dollars. Thousands of dollars. Every mistake cost money, tons, which meant marketing materials were treated more like an investment for a company, and they had to work harder. So everybody thought things through a little more. Because when you're about to spend thousands of dollars on printing a brochure, spending a few thousand more and making sure it was done properly by a professional graphic designer suddenly made a whole lot of sense. And since you're dropping $20K on a brochure, you're going to want to make sure that you're going to get a good return on that investment. That's why graphic design wasn't just about making things look good, because it couldn't afford to, because everything was so damn expensive. Graphic designers solved real business problems through communication. Graphic design would do things like move thousands of people through airports and reduce confusion in subway lines and make packages stand out on shelves. I mean, it made a difference to a company's bottom line. So graphic design wasn't just about decoration, it had a job to do. Even going back to like Paul Rand and Massimo Vignelli, the way they would talk about graphic design. I mean, these guys weren't obsessed with how making things look good. They were obsessed with making things work good. They totally blew up the whole idea that graphic design was about making things look pretty. It wasn't even a thing for them. They talked about design being utilitarian and a discipline and a process and a way of solving problems. Totally not downplaying the creative part of what we do in graphic design and making things look beautiful. But graphic design wasn't art. It wasn't self-expression or decoration. It was attached to a real business problem. And if the problem wasn't solved, then the design failed. That was graphic design. But that's not the definition of graphic design most people have today. Somewhere along the line, things changed. None of them seemed like it was a big deal on their own, but when you'd compound them over decade after decade, it really changed our definition of graphic design. Desktop publishing. Suddenly anybody with a computer could lay out a page, and digital printing. Suddenly you didn't have to print 5,000 brochures. You could print 50. Great, right? Wrong. What about Bob and Mike? Sorry guys, one of you gotta go. And if I only need 50 brochures, do I really need to hire an expensive graphic designer? Or can that co-op student from accounting take a crack at it on the desktop publishing software? Then came templates and stock assets and global competition like Fiverr and 99 Designs. And then Canva, suddenly everybody was a designer. And then AI, when suddenly nobody had a design anymore. Every wave looked different, but every wave did the same thing. It made the making of design easier and cheaper, creating what I call disposable design. Think about it. In the 90s, if you were printing 10,000 brochures, you wanted to make damn sure that they were right. So you invested in strategy, you invested in research and in great design, because changing your mind after it came off the press wasn't really an option. Today, though, if you need 50 brochures for this weekend, no big deal. We'll print 50 more next month. And while we're at it, let's change the picture and the messaging and let's just throw a starburst on there with this month's specials. Every piece suddenly had a shorter lifespan. You print it, use it, toss it, and then update it again and print it again. And suddenly, nothing had to last anymore. And when the thing that you're designing becomes disposable, well, the design kind of starts feeling disposable. The problem wasn't that businesses stopped valuing the thinking, they just stopped needing so much thinking around the disposable stuff. And clients stopped asking, how should we solve this problem? Not because they didn't value good ideas, but because the work that they needed from you just kind of changed. And they weren't risking $20,000 anymore to print 20,000 brochures. They were asking, can you make me one of these? Can you make me a logo? Can you make me a social post? And little by little, graphic design stopped being a way of thinking and became a way of making. And the crappy part, the thinking never disappeared. It just got rebranded. It became UX and experience design and design thinking. And suddenly companies were paying six figures for people who research customers and solve business problems and influence behavior and thought strategically. Sound familiar? That's what graphic designers used to do. Businesses never stopped paying for thinking. They just stopped paying for the making. Living through this crazy transformation, I didn't really realize it at the time. I was just growing my agency one failure at a time. I wasn't thinking, I'm going to be a strategic agency. That was just graphic design. Or at least that was how we did things. That's how we still do things. We used to do a ton of package design stuff, right? I absolutely loved package design. It was such a rush to see it on the shelves in the wild, right? Loved it. And whenever we'd get a new packaging project, we never started by designing the package, ever. We never built mood boards first or hunted for inspiration or started sketching our ideas in a brainstorming session. We'd go to the grocery store and we'd stand in the aisle and we'd buy every competitor's package and we'd photograph the shelves and we'd compare how every product was merchandised. And then we'd back up 10 feet and just study, what catches your eye first, which products disappear, what colors own the shelf, okay? Where does your eye naturally go? Because here's the thing. The package design wasn't the problem. The shelf was the problem. The competition was the problem. The shitty overhead lights, they were the problem. The mother dragging her crying kid through the aisle while on the phone, wondering which product she should reach for with her T-Rex arms. That was a problem. The package design, it totally wasn't the problem. That was the solution. A logo's not a problem. A logo's a solution. A website solution. Brochure solution. They're all solutions. Once we understand the problem, the design pretty much designed itself. We weren't decorating a box for the shelf. We were solving business problems. That's what graphic design looked like, or at least that's what I always thought graphic design looked like. Because how do you know you've designed the right solution if you've never understood the real problem? Today, though, I think a lot of designers start in a completely different place and mindset. They get a package design project, they look for inspiration, they open up design software, they make concepts, they drop them then onto a beautiful 3D mock-up and present them to the client, or they'll email them over and hope one sticks. Am I close? But what almost never happens, nobody asks, how's this going to win on the shelf? What craziness do we have to account for? We became so obsessed with what we were making instead of why we were making it. No wonder people think graphic design is dying. Look at what we've told an entire generation of designers. We tell them to master software and learn motion design and video and AI and post every day and stay on top of trends. Everyone stopped talking about thinking and focused on the making. So is graphic design still worth pursuing? I honestly don't know, because I don't know what version you're talking about. If you're talking about the version where your value comes from pushing pixels and making logos and pumping out social posts, then yeah, I'd probably be pretty worried if I was you. But if you're talking about the version of graphic design I grew up with, built a 7-figure agency around, and I'm still rocking today, and the version of graphic design that always starts with the problem and helps businesses untangle messy communications and help understand who we're solving for and what makes them tick, and then create beautifully designed marketing pieces from that research, I don't think that version is disappearing at all. In fact, I think businesses need that version of graphic design now more than ever. Businesses today, they're facing more competition and more AI-generated crap and more channels and choices and shorter attention spans, which means clear thinking has become more valuable. Remember those Reddit comments? Is graphic design worth pursuing? Maybe they should be asking, is making still worth pursuing? But they're so wrapped up in all the noise of it all, they can't separate what's valuable and what's replaceable. So here's my challenge for you. On your next project, don't open Illustrator or pull out a sketch pad, and definitely don't start building freaking mood boards and looking for inspiration, okay? Spend 30 minutes trying to understand the problem, who the competition is, who their customers actually are, what are the problems they're facing. Then design a solution for it. And when you present that work to your customer, don't talk about, the font choices and color schemes or why you like it. Tell them what you learned in your research and how that influenced your design decisions. Stop defending your design choices and start presenting the thinking behind them. And if your outcomes aren't better, if your results aren't better, come back and tell me I was wrong. Hope you guys like this. Please like, subscribe, let's keep this going because we got some really cool stuff happening in the near future, and I kind of want you to be part of it. So on behalf of Sean and myself, stay creative and stay angry. Peace.